Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? We're all doing very, very well. Now, apologies first and foremost if you guys are expecting another video on Prey, the forthcoming action, survivalist, sci-fi, horror, adventure with a predator. No, this video is not about that. I'm sorry. So suddenly loads of newcomers are going like, oh, well, I'm not watching this then. Unsubscribe. No, don't do that. No, I love movies from every single decade, from the 20s onwards. So all your Universal horrors, then all your independents, then obviously your Hammer, then the 1970s, your independent stuff there, and the 80s, the cavalcade of gore and prosthetics and latex from the 80s, and sort of self-referential, endlessly self-referential 90s, and then it's got to revamp sort of, let's just do prequels and stuff and revamp stuff and reboot stuff from the early 2000s. And that's kind of carried on. But I love every genre, every period, every era of movie making. But mainly horror, as you guys know. And one of my favourite studios, of course, is Hammer Horror. I've covered Hammer Horror a lot on the channel, a lot. And there'll be plentiful more Hammer Horror to come. And what I find weird is that despite all the huge anticipation and excitement for Prey, again, I'm gonna use that as a big example. And I've been hyping this up and bigging this up, and I'm so looking forward to it. At the time of this recording, I haven't seen it yet. But there's other films which I have seen, but decades ago, which are getting their fantastic new sort of debut on home video, with all bells and whistles and loads of extra features and a glorious transfer. And I find myself looking forward to their release date, just the same as I am with Prey. And I've seen the film I'm going to describe right now, I've seen before, but a long time ago, and then kind of forgot about it. And like being an aficionado, it's always been a film that I've mentioned and listed, but I've not actually sat and watched it for decades. And to suddenly have it now, revamped, retweaked, on a glorious limited edition, Blu-ray, with loads of stuff, extra bits thrown in there, it's a real boost, And I find myself getting excited about these older movies coming out, just as much as I am about the new movies coming out. Like Thor, Love and Thunder, I was raging about, oh my God, I can't wait for this, and I saw it and loved it. But I'm the same way about suddenly an older film from yesteryear. I've been the same about Boris Karloff box sets, or even Bela Lugosi box sets. Old vintage movies I get very excited about, because you don't watch them all the time, but I do love and adore these things. And when you get the proper treatment, it's so worthy of your investment. Get these, watch them, savor them. And then you get this. This, I'll show you right now. There it is right there. Look at that. Creatures the well forgot. I mean, if that was the kind of, I would not forget that kind of creature. Would you forget that kind of creature? No, you wouldn't. Would you, you hairy bastard? No, he wouldn't either. Unforgettable, you'd say. This is one of the 4 Hammer prehistoric movies. Hammer Horror. The land of gothic castles, Castle Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, Curse of the Werewolf, vampires, ghouls, and all sorts of stuff. But they had an offshoot, very cleverly, they had an offshoot for prehistoric movies, and it did catch a bit of a real sort of, a lightning in a bottle with 1 million years BC, with Raquel Welch and John Richardson, and special effects, of course, by anyone? Oh, come on. Ray Harryhausen. Yes, that guy. And it's a wonderful movie, and I have reviewed it extensively on the channel. But it did a few more. They did Slave Girls, aka Prehistoric Women. Martina Beswick, who owns that movie, and it's really, really good. I'll stop poking the screen now. Should be all right now. That's a wonderful film as well. And then you had When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth, and that's great. And it had dinosaurs in it, but dinosaurs did not coexist with man in that period. It didn't happen. So Hammer, under Michael Carreras, the head honcho of Hammer at the time, who wrote and produced this movie, came up with a film which was a survivalist epic just about the humans, the early ancient humans, warring tribes after a volcanic eruption. And here's the switch. Normally these films end with a volcanic eruption, and they, and then that's the end of the movie. And the ragtag survivors form an allegiance and go off to propagate the world with other humans. But this film starts off like that, and it tracks the progress and the evolution of the tribe. People dying, kids being born, who then brothers will become warring factions to take dominance of the tribe, and then meeting other tribes, some nasty, some not, and meeting some really lovely ladies along the way. And but it's a travelogue, and it's almost semi-documentary in its form. There's lots of violence, and there's a fair bit of nudity as well. All good things, and but no dinos. No dinos. There's a guy in a cave bear suit waltzing around. He doesn't last too long. There's a snake, and there's a few antelopes and stuff like that. Just real life sort of animals, apart from the guy in the suit. But it's mainly about the interactions of the tribe. No dialogue. It's just all grunts and pointing. When you see Norwegian beauty babe Miss Norway, Julie Egge, or Julie Edge, as some people used to call her as well, because she had the edge, who was introduced about halfway through, and she is the heartthrob of the time. Hammer massively announced her. That's her on the cover there. They announced her as being their new horror babe, and it didn't really work out that well. But she is gorgeous. But the thing about this movie is there's lots of nubile young women, and there's lots of really, late 60s, early 70s, not age obviously, but time period. Guys who were like up and coming actors on the stage and treading the boards, and probably were like in rock bands at the time. Hippies, and they're all playing all these cavemen, and they're scantily clad as well. So it's got something for everyone, folks, except a dinosaur fan. If you're a Jurassic Park lover, don't watch this movie, because it's got none of that in there at all. Now, it gets a really bad rep by everybody. Hammer aficionados don't seem to like it. Hammer fans despise it. The critics at the time and the Hammer fans at the time just completely swerved it completely. They weren't bothered. But I saw it a long time ago, and obviously, I was a young teen, and things happened, and when things were on screen, things happened to me physically, and I thought, I like this. I like it. And I saw it again, sort of early 20s, and then I've always had a version of this, but some of the versions that I've got, I've never actually watched. I've had them. Oh, Creatures of the Well Forgot. I must get a copy of that. I've had American copies. I've had copies from Australia. I've had copies from everywhere, but they're still in cellophane. I've never actually watched the bastards. But then, Powerhouse Indicator, who's one of the great pioneers, alongside many other boutique labels that really go to town on these older movies, and films that everyone just goes, "What? Why would you do that?" But if you're a fan, especially in my sort of age bracket, you begin to reappreciate, reevaluate the films that you may have just scoffed at and despised at the time. Now, as I was saying, Hammer were doing these prehistoric movies, and they had dinosaurs in them. So it was Ray Harryhausen, and then there was Jim Danforth as well, another stop motion animator, doing stuff. And for this one, they didn't want that. No, we're going to try and tell this one more realistically. So this is just a fight for survival in an inhospitable landscape, which is volcanic, and you're meeting other tribes, and there's rituals, and there's fledgling sort of society being built up, sacrifices, and fledgling religion being built up as well. It's a clever movie. It's way ahead of its time in many, many ways, because no one else did this. No one else. There's lost continents and lost worlds and loads of primitive movie stuff, but they always had dinosaurs and all that kind of stuff. This one tried to tell a story about just the humans who was existing then, and how their fight for survival made a lot of sacrifices, and it was ferocious and barbaric, but the beginnings of civilization you could see there, and it's like a time capsule. So that title, Creatures the World Forgot, it's not about monsters, it's about them, the people, the tribes. They are the creatures the world forgot. So Don Chaffee made this, directed it, and Don Chaffee had done Jason and the Argonauts. And he'd also done 1 million years BC with Raquel Welch. And I can't wait to watch it again. No, anyway, that's it. Right, look, it's all sealed up. Look at it. Lovely little box set. So let's crack this open gently. By the way, folks, I'm going to review this movie. But this is just an opening, an unboxing, just to show you what's in here. Got to remind you, this is limited. This is a UK release on Blu-ray, and mine is. Can you see there? Indicator limited edition. My number is 2274 of 6,000. So 6,000 of these floating out there. They'll be lucky to sell half of that. Like, I probably got the last copy. And that was the other thing as well. You know what I was saying before about I can't wait for Prey to come out, and I'm not sleeping properly because I can't wait for this movie. The big film of the year for me. Well, this was due out on Monday, which would be 2 days ago. And I pre-ordered this. And it only arrived today, on Wednesday. It arrived late. And I was pacing the halls. I've ordered it from Amazon. Pre-ordered as well. Should have arrived on the day. But Amazon are not that good on same day delivery when when you've pre-release ordered it, you've pre-ordered it. It should arrive on the day of release now, or even before, because I've had that before. But these days, that don't seem to be happening. They just arrive whenever they fucking feel like it. In fact, you're better off waiting for the film, the release to drop on the day. Say it was Monday, so wait for it. Oh, it's in stock. Order that day. Early enough, you might get it the same day by 10 p.m. or you'll definitely get it the next day. But if you pre-order it, you might wait 3 days, as I fucking did, so go figure. But anyway, it's here now. So, but Powerhouse Indicator really go the extra mile. Even the packaging, a hard box that it's in there, and you've got the little slip cover thing here, the little this stuff, which I do like, by the way. The limb, got to keep those if you're a collector. Keep them. Love it. A little bit says the 1971 Hammer Classic. I will term it as a classic. These are, but pretty much no one else ever termed it as a classic. But I think it's ripe for re-evaluation, as I say. So, right, on the back we have an unforgettable world of unimaginable savagery. This is the blurb you got on the posters. See, prehistoric love rites. See, primitive chieftains duel in naked fury. See, the young lovers sacrificed. See, staked girl menaced by a giant python who was called Monty. Sounds like a fucking porno from the 70s, doesn't it? More like a prehistoric, action survivalist adventure movie. But right, okay. So you've got there's your really great, brilliantly. That's sturdy. That's a good sturdy box. I love these boxes. Brilliant. There's the movie. We'll come on to that in a minute. But what we got here? We've got. Oh yeah, look at this. Lovey-doveys. The dark-haired tribe meet the blonde-haired tribe. You know, and obviously, you know, there's, would you call it racial or follicle? Folliculism takes place, you know, because can we trust blondes? Can we trust the dark-hairs? And there's actually a darker-haired tribe, and they're the evil ones. By the way, folks, I'm saying this from memory, and I have not seen this film for so long. And that's when it got touted as I was coming out. I thought, oh God, I've got to watch this. Because I so loved revisiting 1 million years BC. So loved watching that. And Slave Girls is great as well. But this was the one that everyone, the name itself, Creatures the Well Forgot. It's the film the well forgot and didn't want to be reminded of. Well, I'm doing my bit to remind you right now. So, anyway, there you go. And you've got this. This is how many pages have we got here? It's oh, they don't number the pages. Oh, they might do. It's about 80 pages, something like that. A booklet, and you've got essays on it. You've got loads of glorious stills. I'm trying to avoid that ring light there. There's Julie Egge, Miss Norway. She got a really bad rep making this movie. All the cast and crew were saying that she was, you know, sort of like up her own arse and like wasn't, you know, sort of like didn't want to associate with anyone. She was pregnant and she was not happy and didn't feel comfortable at all. So she was knackered all the time. So, you know, that's why that happened. Some of the other characters, not like big hairy dudes. Hair was huge. And they filmed this in northwest Africa, the Namib Desert, with many fabulous locations. And the cinematography is absolute. I do remember that is incredible. The vistas, the landscapes, the mountains, the valleys, you know, and it got this travelogue of these tribes going across. It really does evoke a primitive era, and you're there. It's so evocative. It's there. And Mario Nissenbeam's fabulous score. He also scored 1 million years BC for Hammer, and his score is very similar, only it's a bit more ethnic, a bit more primitive and tribal. Whereas 1 million years BC was more epic in scope, with a cosmic angle to it as well. A huge sort of overarching bellicose flavour of epochs changing. This is very, you can hear it now, it's very trail, shakers and rattles and all that kind of stuff. And it's totally in keeping with what the film's about. What the hell is that? Let's get that. What's that about? Is that like a sort of, remember the film with Sean Connery, Zardoz, with the big stone head, Zardoz, and Sean Connery wearing a nappy? Oh dear God. You know, but look at that thing. I don't remember that. What's that about? What the hell is that? In fact, if you look below, in the picture below, there's a load of them all wearing these things. Why is it I don't remember them at all? Well, I don't. And that's why I can't wait to rediscover this movie. This is the excitement. You know, films from yesteryear, yeah, you've seen them a million times. And like people in generations now just don't really care. And, you know, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. I love these older films, and many people out there still do. And if we can reach out and give a flavour of some of the quality of these older films to someone new, someone much younger, then that's a great thing. And then they go and rediscover it. So many films do get rediscovered. You know, obviously, you like to see your Halloween, your Assault on Precinct 13, you know, The Exorcist, Texas Chainsaw. People go, oh my God, I watched this vintage movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Vintage? Vintage? In actual fact, nowadays, that is a vintage horror movie. So what is, you know, Universal's Frankenstein and Dracula and the Invisible Man and, you know, the Wolfman? What are they? Then they are truly ancient in the way that we're writing our movie viewing history. So it's bizarre, isn't it? But younger people can still discover these films and still find a lot of worth in them. As I always say, without these films and what they do, they're stepping stones. The inaugural, I can't say that word, inaugural movies, the inventive experiments in movie making, for the likes of James Whale and Todd Browning. These films broke the mold and created something entirely new. Mamoulian and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, all this sort of stuff changed the way people understood cinema and accepted genre. Genre was created way back then, and it branched out into sci-fi and fantasy, and obviously horror was the huge thing. And then you got action and adventure and detective and noir and romance and musicals. But whatever genre you love or can tolerate, it began almost, over 100 years ago. Simple as, Phantom of the Opera, Lon Chaney Sr., this is where it all began. Vampire, these are silent movies, but their power is still there. And what the ground that they broke, we're still feeling the ripples from that in cinema today. Yeah, CG, self-referential. We've got comedians playing heroes and stuff. The way the whole genre is twisted and turned and gone through so many convolutions, but the basic tenets of storytelling and sort of movie genre tropes were set in motion over 100 years ago. So it's nice, I think, to go back, revisit, especially for someone like me who kind of grew up with these movies and knows them and understands them and has a massive love for them anyway. So I'm already massively biased. But if you can bring someone, even just one other person who's from a different generation, a younger generation, to go and see these movies, this perhaps isn't the best film to use as a glowing example. I freely admit that. I haven't seen this for ages, and I'm going to watch it and then do a big full review of it as well. But if it's pure fucking primal man turd, then I'll say so. But I can view it with two different viewpoints. I can see it from my nostalgic viewpoint, and I can also understand it from the period it came out and what Hammer were trying to do, which was actually groundbreaking at the time. We're going to tell a realistic story. We're not going sensational. We're not going monsters. We're not doing that. We're going to tell a realistic sort of story. Now, you think Hammer, gothic horror, misty sets, Bray Studios, Blackwoods, that's what they were using all the time, and L Street Studios. And then for these movies, they travel abroad. 1 million years BC was in the Canary Islands. This isn't, the Namib Desert. When dinosaurs ruled the earth. Where the hell was that? Well, that was the Canary Islands again, I think. Do you know what? I can't remember now. But I think it's around that neck of the woods. Someone's going to correct me on that one. But I can think of two people who are going to definitely correct me on this one. So I look forward to your comments. But they broke new ground. They were daring enough to do this because Raquel Welch, 1 million years BC, fairy bikinis, made them a lot of money. So it spawned a little mini franchise. Now, other studios did try to do this. What was it? Amicus with Warlords of Atlantis and The People That Time Forgot and all that kind of stuff. Doug McClure, the big Doug McClure classics. But they were later on. They were from the sort of mid 70s, and and they're great fun. Do not get me wrong, they're great fun. But Hammer took a more serious angle on these. Whereas the Amicus stuff was a little bit more sort of hokey, jokey, and it was action all the time, and it gave the audience at the time what they wanted. Monsters aplenty, action every other scene. These were different. The Hammer movies, and it's the Hammer. It's really a bold decision to have made, and to have stuck with it for 4 movies. And there was a film which was meant to come out after this one, because this one was dismal, failed massively. They had a film about it was Nazis in a Zeppelin who would encounter pterodactyls. Yes, you heard me right. And the artwork still exists, folks. If you're a Hammer fan, you know all this. Zeppelins versus pterodactyls. Now you think about, like, you know, Kong versus Godzilla, so and so versus so and so. So there's a whole slew of these movies. Jason versus Freddy, all that kind of shit. Like, Hammer, again, was ahead of the curve. Zeppelins versus pterodactyls, and that was about. It was about like a Zeppelin which flew into over like this island which happened to be populated by dinosaurs, and Michael Crichton just went, "Really, an island populated by dinosaurs in the modern world? What time period could that be? Jurassic." He fucked it up though. A scientist that he was, he still fucked it up because there were no humans in the Jurassic period. So, you know, the whole Jurassic World thing. Sorry, no, not humans, but the dinosaurs that he created for it weren't in the Jurassic period. Not the fucking humans. That's the whole point of the movie, isn't it? Kilt-Man, you fucking idiot. Anyway, so you've got a glorious book full of essays, lots of imagery, pictures, interviews. Look at her. Looks very snake-headed there. She is gorgeous. Miss Norway, Julie Egge, or Julie Edge, as I used to call her when I was a kid. Julie Edge, and because the name is E-G-E, Edge. I actually think that sounds better, don't you? By the way, cheers, folks. So, what else have we got? There is art cards. This is an unboxing. Most other people just do an unboxing in like 2 or 3 minutes. Here's the box, here's the movie, or here's the whatever. It does this, it's got this. But with me, you always get more. I'm just going to glance through these. They're all black and white. Yes, they're all black and white. And they are all Julie Egge. Oh, by the way, YouTube gods, do not censor me for showing a gorgeous woman's breast with their nipple exposed. Look at that. Look at that. Look even closer. Oh, get on with the job, Kilt-Man. There she is. She's not in the film that much. If I remember rightly, she doesn't appear till about halfway through, because you see it as she gets born in the movie, and then obviously there's a travelogue sort of thing, and then she becomes this. And do you know what? I like the fact that they're black and white pictures as well. The film's in colour, but I like the fact that they're artsy-fartsy black and white. Look at that. And they've known what they're doing. The art cards are all primarily hair. Oh dear God. I'm just going to lean against this this bamboo fence over here. I'm just going to lean here. Was anyone behind me? Oh. Don't put your skull bowl of soup on my bum. You did. You put that skull bone of soup on my bum, didn't you? You did. They're great, actually. They're really good pictures. I like them. So here's the actual box itself. So you have one of the original poster artwork there. And what does it say? Oh, all that blurb. See! Hang on, they're different. See the devil gaunt of the primeval jungle. See the most titanic earthquake ever filmed. See the terrifying ordeal of the virgins. See the flaming torch against the naked blade. What fucking film is that? On the back of that, it's all... They had 2 different taglines with all that. See this, see that. See here, you. You know. So let's open it up. And, yeah. Beyond the cassette. The cassette. God, I've gone back in time, haven't I? We have... the newer art, well, other artwork. That's not new art, newer artwork, which is on the box itself. That is also of the time, alternate artwork from Hammer, and it's gorgeous. And I can't get the sleeve back in, but there you go. But in a way, I kind of like. I prefer that by far to that. But at least, I mean, and that's more realistic as to what you actually see. I think this depiction of stuff and activities going on and hairy people all over the place. This one seems to depict, well, is that little tribe of them weird headed things, the Zardoz heads? I don't know. Must be. I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. Which is why I can't wait to watch it. So, anyway, folks. Creatures the Well Forgot. A film that most of the world seems to want to forget. But I'm going to give it its day in court. I'm going to revisit this and I'm going to give it a proper big Kilt-Man review. You know what I'm like. You know I'll do this. And we should have a great deal of fun with it as well. But I've got a feeling that I won't be taking the piss that much. I know this film, I remember this film enough to know that it takes itself very seriously. And, you know, to be a Philistine and say, well, it's crap because it's got no fucking dinosaurs. There were never meant to be any dinosaurs. That was a deliberate decision. And they wanted to tell the story of primitive man and his fight for survival against his own kind, and to try to just find a way to live and hunt and eat and look after your own tribe. And that's got to be worth looking at properly. I mean, the films that would be in this sort of boat would be Quest for Fire, which is that's an incredibly awesome movie actually. I really should cover that. Ron Perlman's in that as well. And I just thought Planet of the Cave Bear. Although I don't know. I've only seen it once, and I thought, what a little shit that was. But but Quest for Fire, I thought it was brilliant. Everett McGill's in that as well, from Silver Bullet and Heartbreak Ridge and many other movies. People Under the Stairs, Everett McGill, and like Ron Perlman. They didn't need much prosthetics, just a little bit of a sort of a brow lift and a bit more fair on the chin. But those two guys are, no offense, but ugly enough to look fucking primeval. I love them both. They're brilliant. And what was their name from Commando? Oh God, the air hostess that Arnie abducts and then she helps him from Commando. What's her name? She's the star of Quest for Fire. What's her name? How'd that happen? How does that happen? Oh, I'll tell you, David Warner died last week. David Warner playing Evil from Time Bandits, and I dragged down this magazine because I did an obituary for him. And what? Can you believe it? There's Quest for Fire. I always say about connections, how there's an unbelievable symmetry. Well, let's get her name because I've forgotten her name, and I do feel terrible about that. Right. Okay, let's just see if we can get her name. Because I will not rest until I've got her name. Oh, don't do this. And these are hominids, by the way, hominids. Oh God, give us her name. Part of me wants to say Renée Zellweger. It isn't Renée Zellweger, I know. What the hell's her name? Oh no. You see, like, you know, you get these magazines, these old magazines, and like they're describing what you see in the scene, but they don't put in brackets, oh, that's so and so in that sequence. Oh God, no. I can't find her fucking name. Why doesn't it give her name? Found it, folks. Stop. You've all Googled it, I know. Some of you remembered it, but Ray Dawn Chong. By the way, Michelle Chong. She knows what I mean. Ray Dawn Chong from Commando. And answers below. What else was she in? Probably a lot of other things, but I can't remember. But she was great in this movie as well. So, primitive movies. And I'm going to review Creatures the Well Forgot at some point soon. I promise you. And we'll have a good laugh with it. But don't you worry. Prey is the order of the day. In fact, the order of the entire fucking weekend forthcoming. Friday is just 2 days away, and Friday is Prey Day. You always think, oh, payday, oh, that's great. Prey Day's even better. Fucking better be. Folks, I'm going to have a swig of whiskey and then say ta-ra to you all for now. So please, in this ever chaotic and ridiculous in-between time, just keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. Be primal when necessary. And if you can, start a fire and wow, the local scroats who've got no idea where fire came from, because you'll be a god on your local housing estate. And then you'll be doing maths for them all. Anyway, folks, I'm going to see you all. Raiders. So really, back in that day and age, are the women really hairy everywhere? Ooh, think I'd rather have a Ray Harryhausen dinosaur.